Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing about the fallout after the India-US trade deal negotiations. So what is happening right now is that it has been claimed that India is going to stop buying crude oil from Russia. Now, who is saying that? It is the USA, or you can say specifically Donald Trump, that is the president of USA, saying that. So, is it what India is going to do or not? And can we even do that or not? All this and much more is what we are going to see in this video. So, let us get started with the news. So, the news is about Donald Trump, that is the president of USA, who has claimed that India has agreed to reduce and stop, means reduce and subsequently stop. Stop means zero crude oil buying. So reduce or stop the Russian oil import. And he claims that this is the part of the US-India trade deal. So this is what is being claimed by Donald Trump. Now, subsequently, there is also a provision of tariff reduction on Indian exports. Now, tariff reduction because the tariffs are high. Now, what was the reason for the tariffs being high? So, some months back, 25% tariffs were imposed on Indian goods because USA has a trade deficit with India. And then another 25% was imposed on India because India was buying crude oil from Russia. So, this was a penalty kind of a tariff which was there, and this was like a reciprocal tariff because India has high tariffs, so they also impose higher tariffs plus penalized tariffs because we purchase crude oil from Russia. Now it is being said that the tariffs under the trade deal, usually you reduce the tariffs, so tariffs will be reduced from both the sides. So when it is being reduced from the USA's side, it is being said that it is allegedly linked to what? Allegedly linked to buying more US goods. Of course, this is fine, but this is the important point: reducing Russian crude oil purchases. So this is being claimed by Donald Trump. And remember, he also mentioned that subsequently India will stop buying the crude oil. So let us look at the detailed or objective claim that US tariffs on Indian goods reduced from 50% to 18%. Now, removal of 25% punitive tariff, as I said, which was linked to Russian oil, this has been done, is what is being claimed. And it is being claimed that India will shift to crude oil sourcing from USA and Venezuela. Now, Venezuela also effectively is going to be nothing but procuring from USA only, because USA is taking over the crude oil reservoirs of Venezuela. So this is what is being claimed. Now let us see what is India's stand. So India does agree with the fact that there has been reduction in tariff, and India welcomes that tariff reduction. However, India as of now has not mentioned anything about stopping the Russian oil, and there has been no formal policy directive, notification or anything in this regard that has been issued by India. Now remember, there has been a situation few months back only when Donald Trump claimed that he was the man who basically stopped the conflict that was going on between India and Pakistan, because Pakistan had done a state-sponsored terrorist act in India, and we were doing the counter-terrorism action, and the things could have increased in proportion, but Donald Trump claimed that he was the one who had calmed it down. But then there was a clarification of India that there was no third party involved as such. So now here also there is no official notification from India, but again Donald Trump is probably claiming certain things which he has not achieved. Now let us look at India's dependence on Russia with respect to crude oil. So if you can see, this is the increase in the crude oil purchases from Russia. So India is buying a huge amount of crude oil from Russia. Mid 2025, our imports were about 2 million barrels per day, BPD. This is also written as BPD, that is the barrels per day, and Russia became India's top oil supplier. Now, why this is important? India has been doing this even when USA has imposed secondary sanctions on Russia. Secondary sanction on Russia by USA means that USA is going to impose tariffs on countries that trade with Russia, but still India has continued to trade, right, with Russia with respect to crude oil. However, by the time of December, the imports fell to 1.38 million barrels per day, and Russia's share has dropped. This share which has dropped, does that mean we are requiring lower crude oil? No, it is just that we are sourcing from other sources as well, which is a part of diversification strategy, that we can see that the OPEC share is rising when the Russian share is falling down. Now, the thing is that India may not be possibly immediately able to walk out of the India-Russia crude oil deal. So doing that, exiting oil abruptly, may not be possible. Why? Number one, the existing contracts. You already have a contract. So you might not renew the contract, but when the contract is already in place, you may honor the contract. If you don't do it, there might be penalties, etc., which would be imposed. This is one thing. Next, the refinery configurations. Indian refineries are configured to the specific crude oil grades specifically coming from Russia, right? Now, as a result of which, it is difficult for you to recalculate the equipment and everything. Right, why the calibration and all is needed? Because of course crude oil is crude oil, but then there are various types of crude oil depending upon the viscosity of the crude oil, the sweetness of the crude oil, the heaviness, the density of the crude oil, so on and so forth. So you will have to recalibrate the entire refinery system. So if you look at the technical reality, the Venezuelan crude oil is heavy and sour, whereas so the crude oil can be heavier, lighter. It starts from heavier and then lighter, sour, sweet, high count, low count. These are certain characteristics because of which there will be different calibration requirement in the refinery industry. So that becomes difficult. Only the Reliance and Nayara can process large volumes of Venezuelan crude oil, is what is being said. And PSU refineries as of now can replace less than 10% of Russian crude oil volumes. So changing this immediately as such would not be possible. So as a result of which, Venezuela can supplement but not substitute the Russian oil, at least in the near or immediate future. Now, what is Russia's response? Russia is also very clear here. Russia is simply saying that whatever USA is saying, they may be saying, but we have not heard any official notification from India. So they are simply mentioning that there has been no official communication from India as such. And India and Russia, it's not just about money. India and Russia also share a very strategic partnership. Strategic word, includes the fact that the partnership is there in defense construction, nuclear powered submarine construction, so on and so forth. If you look at Indian investments in Russia, so ONGC, Videsh, etc. have invested a lot of money in Russia. So a lot of dividends are present for India in Russia as of now, making it more difficult. Now, what will be the impact on refineries in India if we switch? See, the issue is major refineries in India are using the Russian oil only. These are the names: Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum, Reliance, Nayara Energy, etc. Right. Now, as a result of which, when you are using this oil, you have calibrated your machinery accordingly, so it will become difficult for you to shift. The high risk case is the case of Nayara. What is this case about? So 4 lakh barrels per day refinery, it's dependent on the Russian crude oil only. If you stop this, what will happen is this refinery may start facing concerns. So as a result of which, the sudden stop can disrupt the operation, and operation disruption means supply disruption. As a result of which, what we should rather be doing is we should be balancing our energy security, commercial viability, and our geopolitical situation. So it is not to be looked in a unidimensional manner only as a matter of deficit foreign exchange or money, but also with respect to the energy security, which we cannot disrupt, and the geopolitical situation and strategic partnership that we have with Russia. Thank you.